Discover 6 incredible garlic mistakes seniors must avoid for heartwarming health transformation. Marge's sturdy little house, nestled among the sprawling roots of ancient maple trees, was alive with bustling memories and the warm scent of her famous chili. The pot, bubbling away, was filled with love and remnants of laughter shared with her late husband, Frank. Each splash of red sauce echoed their joyous nights, rich spices curling into cozy corners where their memories lingered. Yet as Marge stirred her chili, the ticking clock caught her breath. Time waited for no one, and she felt it creeping closer, tightening around her heart like a vice. Her daughter, Emily, worried that each chilly night had grown a little dimmer. "Mom, we need to talk about your health," she urged. Marge's heart clenched at the idea of change. She was no longer the vibrant woman she once was, the girl who danced in the kitchen to Frank's favorite songs. But the idea of letting go of her cherished recipes felt like tearing pages from the story of her life. Then, late one night, an infomercial flickered to life on the TV screen. "Discover the secrets of garlic," the host shouted with infectious enthusiasm. Marge's eyes widened. She could whip up something new. With a zest for life she thought she'd lost, Marge plunged into a world of garlic-infused adventures, ready to breathe life back into her kitchen. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Marge's kitchen transformed into a laboratory of garlic experiments. Garlic bread, garlic soup, garlic pasta, every dish bursting with pungent possibilities. But with each clove, she sensed Emily's unease growing. "Mom, garlic's great, but remember what Dr. Hughes said about moderation?" Emily voiced her concerns, worry knitting her brows. Marge brushed her off. "I'm fine, just trying to spice things up." But as family gatherings grew fraught with tension, the lively laughter faded into whispers. Old rivalries crept into conversations while neighbors gathered at the local health center. Their concern for Marge echoed like the leaves rustling in the wind. "That widow's stubborn streak could cost her," one neighbor warned. "She ought to stick to what she knows," said another. Marge felt the weight of their gazes, their hushed murmurs, as if the walls of her cozy haven were closing in. Yet, she clung fiercely to her beloved chili, a fragrant crown of nostalgia, both comforting and suffocating. Was her food a balm of memories or a chain binding her to the past? As the seasons danced outside her kitchen window, Marge stood at a crossroads. Would she find a way to adapt her cherished recipes, woven with love, to align with the reality of her health? The thought prickled her heart. Change would not come easily, but the gentle rustle of those ancient maples outside whispered a different story. They stood tall, strong yet swaying with the winds of time, offering a flicker of hope. Perhaps she could learn, evolve, and still hold dear her treasured past. What secrets might the health center reveal, and would they lead Marge to a delicious reconciliation of taste and health? Her heart swelled with a bittersweet ache as she prepared to step into a world ripe for transformation, where warmth and community awaited their next move. Marge awoke the next morning with the sun spilling through her kitchen window, casting warm light over her newly transformed space. Garlic cloves sat triumphantly on the counter, a bounty of potential. Her heart fluttered with hope. Maybe garlic could be the spice of life she needed. But that familiar twinge of apprehension washed over her as she glanced at the old family recipe book perched nearby, its pages crammed with dog-eared memories. She pulled the book close, thumb resting on a recipe for her beloved chili. The thought of altering it, of losing its essence, sent a pang through her chest. Would Frank approve of this new direction? The question hung like a cloud between her and the fragrant garlic wafting through the air. "Mom." Emily's voice cut through her thoughts, bright yet gentle. Marge turned to see her daughter standing at the door, a to-go cup in hand. "I brought you some coffee." "Thanks, honey," Marge smiled, though the weight of unspoken concerns loomed heavy between them. She set the recipe book aside, unwilling to reveal her inner turmoil. Just yet as Emily settled at the table, Marge glanced at her daughter's intent expression, reading the worry etched in her brow. "You're trying to find a balance, right?" Emily asked hesitantly, her voice laced with compassion. "It's just I know you love cooking, but I worry you might be overdoing it." A flicker of frustration ignited within Marge. "I'm not a child, Emily. I'm trying something new. This could be good for me," she replied, trying to defend her newfound passion. Emily nodded slowly, but her eyes conveyed the opposite. "I really believe that, Mom." Marge took a breath and interrupted gently. "I get it. You love me and want what's best. But I still want to enjoy my kitchen experiment, just in a healthier way." The air thickened with emotion, a moment of vulnerability shared between mother and daughter. Marge felt the uncertainty radiating from Emily, a mix of love and worry that tugged at her heartstrings. "Why don't we go together to the health center today?" Emily suggested. "Maybe we could take a class or speak to a nutritionist. It could help smooth the transition." Marge hesitated. The idea sounded practical, but the thought of sitting in a room, discussing food with strangers, made her uneasy. Yet she sensed the earnestness in Emily's proposal. Perhaps it was time to bridge the gap between her past culinary comfort and the healthier options available. After a long sigh, she nodded. "Okay, I'll go." The word felt heavy on her tongue, a step toward courage amidst her fears as they gathered their things to leave. Marge felt a flicker of excitement meld with trepidation. Would this quest lead her to discover strengths she didn't know existed? They arrived at the health center, where sunlight danced over the gentle throng of people engaged in animated chatter. In that crowded space, filled with families and friends, Marge began to see a glimmer of community, a network of support she'd always overlooked. "Look," Emily pointed towards a bulletin board. "They have all sorts of classes. Cooking, nutrition, everything." Marge's heart raced. So much possibility unfolded before her. What if she could learn new recipes that embraced health without sacrificing love and flavor? Each glimmering flyer felt like a path diverging into corners of growth and creativity. But just as Marge took a step forward, she paused. The truth of it crashed into her. Was she ready to explore this unknown territory? Would her cherished chili still hold its soul amid all this change? Her breath hesitated as the answer teetered on the edge of her consciousness. Could she really embark on this journey? The answer loomed large, yet the community around her buzzed with possibilities, enticing her to push past her boundaries. Marge stood, caught between what was and what could be. She clutched Emily's hand tightly. Change was on the horizon, but would she be brave enough to take the leap? With eyes fixed on the colorful flyers, Marge hoped she could find the answers she was seeking. What awaited her within? Those bright blocks of opportunity? Would this be her path to healing, or simply another detour? Marge felt her heart race as she took a deep breath, internalizing the vibrant energy of the health center around her. She turned to Emily, who was busy scanning the flyers with wide-eyed enthusiasm. "What do you think is best for me?" Marge asked, her voice trembling slightly. Emily looked up with a bright smile that instantly lit up Marge's spirit. "Mom, I think starting with the cooking class would be awesome. We can learn healthy recipes together. Plus, you'll meet people who get it who are on similar journeys." The thought of sharing her love for cooking with others, especially in this new, healthy context, sparked something deep within Marge. It made her feel connected, almost like she was starting to find her place again. Still, a flicker of doubt lingered. "What if I don't fit in?" she murmured, only half aware that she was speaking out loud. "Mom," Emily said, adopting a more serious tone. "Everyone's here to learn. No one's judging you. It's about growth, and besides, you won't just be a student. You'll be bringing your own experiences too." A small, unexpected smile cracked Marge's lips. "You're right. Maybe I do have something to offer." Her voice dipped in contemplation. What could a lifetime of cooking teach others? Stepping closer to the bulletin board, Marge scanned the options again and settled on a flyer that read, "Healthy Cooking 101. Infusing flavor without guilt." It felt like it was calling out to her. "Let us sign up," she said, her resolve strengthening. Emily's eyes sparkled as she grabbed a pen. "Are we actually doing this?" Marge chuckled softly, the tension in her chest easing. "Yes, we're doing this." Just as they were about to fill out the registration, a woman approached them, her salt and pepper curls bouncing with a lively energy. "Excuse me," she interjected. "I couldn't help but overhear." Are you interested in the cooking class? I'm Mary, and I've taken it 3 times. It's been a game changer for my family. Really? Marge responded, her curiosity piqued. What is so special about it? Mary's face beamed. It's not just about the food. It's the camaraderie. We share our stories, our struggles, and successes. You'll feel the warmth of everyone supporting one another. Plus, the recipes? They're delicious. You'll even learn how to incorporate those garlic cloves into meals. Marge felt her doubts wane, replaced by a stirring of excitement. Garlic, she mused aloud, thinking of its potential to bring health and joy into her cooking. The power of community washed over her, reminding her that she wouldn't navigate this path alone. Let us sign up together, Emily encouraged, nudging her gently. As they registered, Marge felt something shift inside her, a sense of belonging she hadn't realized she craved. The fear began to morph into anticipation, a hope tinged with possibility. Before they left, Mary invited them to the center's upcoming potluck gathering. Bring something spicy, she winked. A little flavor goes a long way. The idea of making her chili, but perhaps with a twist, sparked a fire within Marge. Could she keep the essence of her old favorite while doing something new? With a spring in her step as they exited the health center, Marge looked over the busy streets. There, among the noise and chatter, she felt a pulse of community around her. As they made their way home, a thought popped into her mind that made her stop dead in her tracks. What if I could win them over with my chili? Adjust the recipe but keep its heart? Emily turned, surprised by the conviction in her mother's voice. Mom, that sounds like a perfect idea. But just as Marge began to conjure ways to infuse her heritage with fresh flavors, a thought crossed her mind. What if not everyone would appreciate her special twist? Would she risk losing the family history it represented? As Marge stood, considering this new uncertainty, she felt an urge to dive deeper into her culinary roots. She was slowly gaining momentum, but was that enough? What awaited her at this potluck? Would she find acceptance, or would her beloved chili lose its place in both her home and her heart? Marge's footsteps echoed in her ears as she and Emily walked back through the bustling streets. The air was thick with the mixed scents of nearby cafes and food trucks, brightening her mood even further. Yet, a swirl of thoughts brought her to a halt occasionally. The potluck was drawing closer, and her original recipe for chili, passed down through generations, suddenly seemed both comforting and terrifying. What's on your mind, Mom? Emily asked, breaking the trance with a gentle nudge. Marge hesitated, glancing sideways at her daughter. What if they don't like my chili? What if they think it's too traditional? Too spicy? The questions tumbled out. Her heart raced again, but this time from the vulnerability she felt in expressing her fears. Emily stopped, turning to face Marge with a reassuring look. But what if they love it? What if it becomes their favorite dish? You have to remember, it represents your story. Marge's heart softened at Emily's words, but the worry still lingered. Yeah, but what if they want something different? A healthier version? I can't just rip out the soul of the dish, can I? You're not trying to change who you are, Emily said, folding her arms. You're evolving. You can take what you love and create something fresh from it. Your chili is a part of you. Just add a twist that speaks to both your heritage and this new journey. Those words ignited a flicker of hope in Marge's heart. Emily was right, this cooking class was also about creativity. Maybe I could swap out some ingredients. Add more veggies, maybe some beans for protein? She mused, feeling a spark of inspiration. The thought of reimagining her dish made her a little giddy. And what if I played with spices? A pinch of something unexpected? Well, if you get too wild, just promise not to experiment with the garlic. Emily teased, winking cheekily. Marge chuckled, feeling the weight slowly lift. Okay, no crazy garlic inventions. I'll keep it simple. But I do want to keep that comforting flavor. As they walked, Marge felt the sun warm her face, and she allowed herself to daydream about the potluck. The thought of sitting together with others, sharing stories, and tasting different dishes made her heart race for a different reason: excitement. But then a thought crept back, and what if sharing her dish meant exposing her vulnerabilities? Emily, what if I put my heart out there and it gets rejected? Mom, rejection happens, yes, but it's also a chance to connect. People appreciate authenticity. They want to taste someone's journey, yours, Emily assured, squeezing her hand. The warmth of her daughter's words wrapped around Marge like a cozy blanket. Perhaps sharing her twist on the chili could spark a conversation, could weave connections she had never thought possible. As they neared home, Marge felt a surge of determination wash over her. She had a recipe to revise, and she was ready to embrace this challenge. Cooking wasn't just about sustenance. It was about love, community, and maybe even healing. Tomorrow morning, we'll hit the farmer's market. I'll need to gather the freshest ingredients before class, Marge declared, her voice laced with newfound excitement. Emily beamed, nodding her head enthusiastically. That's the spirit. You're going to impress everyone. Just remember, they're excited to meet you, not just your chili. But a thought suddenly clouded Marge's mind. What if this creative venture spiraled into unexpected territory, transforming not just the recipe, but her relationship with food and memories forever? As they stepped inside her home, Marge's stomach fluttered. Was she ready for that shift? Or would embracing this new chapter meant letting go of something she loved dearly? With doubts lingering like shadows, Marge knew the next few days would hold more than just a potluck. It would hold the keys to unlocking parts of herself she had kept tucked away for too long. What would it reveal? What awaited her in the warm embrace of the community? The morning sun streamed through the kitchen window, casting a warm golden glow over the wooden table. Marge stood at the counter, her fingers dancing across the fresh vegetables she had gathered from the farmer's market. The vivid colors of the peppers, zucchini, and ripe tomatoes made her heart skip a beat. It felt like each produce item was a building block of her renewed spirit. Wow, Mom, that's quite the haul, Emily chirped, entering the kitchen, her voice carrying the excitement of the day ahead. She leaned in closer to inspect the fruits of their earlier adventure. You've got everything here to create your masterpiece. Marge smiled, her anxiety slowly yielding to optimism. It's amazing how just a little help from nature can spark inspiration. Huh? I think I'm ready to make this chili my own. With every word, she felt a weight lifting, or maybe it was adding buoyancy to her spirit. As she began to chop, the rhythmic sound of the knife against the cutting board became a comforting mantra. Each slice felt meditative. The smell of fresh vegetables mingling with a hint of spice filled the kitchen, reminding her of family gatherings where laughter and love simmered just as prominently as the food. Remember when Grandma used to sit at that table, telling stories while prepping her famous chili? Emily asked, leaning against the counter, lost in her own memories. I can still hear her laughter. Of course I do. She believed cooking was all about connection. Every ingredient had a meaning. Marge paused, pulling inspiration from the memory. You know, she never feared change. She embraced it. That's how I learned to see cooking. It's like a dance. You might have a song in your heart, but sometimes you need to mix in new steps to keep it fresh. Emily grinned, her eyes shining with pride. That's exactly the spirit you need as you create your dish. It's like you're making a new tradition. Marge's heart raced at the thought of honoring her family while stepping into this new chapter, a change brought on by acceptance rather than fear. Suddenly, a wild idea struck her. How about I add a hint of smoked paprika and some black beans for a little twist? Yes, that sounds amazing. Emily's enthusiasm was contagious. And it's all about experimenting, right? Just like you always taught me. With new vigor, Marge worked steadily, her excitement translating into swift movements as she fired up the stove. As the aromas filled the air, a sense of calm entrenched itself in her mind. Cooking was no longer just a chore or a fear of judgment. It was a celebration of her journey, a way to share all the love she had experienced. Yet, as she stirred the bubbling pot, a quiet voice inside nudged her with doubt. What if it wasn't enough? What if she poured her heart into this dish, and someone decided it didn't measure up? Her pulse quickened slightly. Mom. Emily's voice broke through her thoughts as she glanced over her shoulder. Are you okay? Yeah. What if it's still not right? Marge admitted hesitantly. Mom, nobody's expecting perfection. Emily reassured gently. It'll be more than just food on a plate. It'll hold your story, your love. That's what matters most. Marge nodded, grounding herself with her daughter's words. This was more than a recipe, it was a piece of her heart. She turned back to the stove, determined to push through her insecurities. After the chili simmered, its rich scent filling the house, Marge felt lighter. Laughter bubbled up as she and Emily started preparing for the potluck, setting out colorful bowls and gathering utensils as they worked side by side. Marge realized it wasn't about impressing anyone. It was about community, connection, sharing her own story while hearing others unfold theirs. With the preparation complete, she took a deep breath, exhaling her lingering fears. Suddenly, a thought struck. What if the night unfolded in ways she could never have anticipated? What if this potluck opened doors to new friendships and rekindled old bonds? With a heart boldly hopeful, Marge smiled at Emily. "Okay, let us go? I'm ready to share this journey." As they stepped into the evening air, a flutter of anticipation lived in Marge's chest. Little did she know, the potluck would be a turning point, revealing deeper connections than she could have ever imagined. What awaited her at the community table, and how might it change her forever? The community center buzzed with energy as families filed in, their laughter and chatter wrapping around Marge and Emily like a warm blanket. Marge took a moment to soak it all in the vivid decorations, the tables adorned with an array of homemade dishes, and the aroma of food mingling in the air. The spirited ambience injected a fresh wave of energy into her heart. "Look at all those dishes," Emily exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "This is going to be amazing." "Yeah," Marge replied, her smile faltering slightly. "What if mine doesn't stand out?" Emily squeezed her hand, grounding her. "Mom, it's not about standing out. It's about sharing love and stories. Besides, everyone here knows you." Drawing strength from Emily's words, Marge took a deep breath and followed her daughter to the long buffet table. She carefully set her pot of chili, vibrant and steaming, in the center. The colorful toppings, sour cream, shredded cheese, and cilantro sat nearby, waiting to complement the dish. As they arranged the offerings, familiar faces started to emerge from the crowd. Mrs. Thompson, the neighbor with the ever-welcoming smile, approached them first. "Marge, I'm so glad you made it. Your chili smells heavenly." "Oh, thank you, Mrs. Thompson. I really hope you like it," Marge replied, feeling warmth spill over every inch of her. Next came John, the local librarian, who had always found time to chat with Marge whenever she visited the library. "Your chili has made quite the entrance, Marge. It reminds me of the days we share meals at the community potlucks. You've brought back such good memories." His words ignited a flicker of confidence in her. "I hope it lives up to those memories," she said with a smile, realizing the heart of potlucks was not a competition but a tapestry of shared moments. As more people joined, Marge felt her heart swell. Familiar faces flashed in and out of her consciousness, and each one brought with it a flood of memories. The joy of reconnecting began to wash over her, leaving behind the weight of her anxiety. Just then, a familiar voice rose above the chatter. It was Sarah, her childhood friend who had moved away years ago. The sight of her brought a rush of nostalgia. "Marge, is that really you? I can't believe it." "Sarah," Marge exclaimed, rushing forward to embrace her old friend. The reunion felt like a bridge across years. "I didn't know you were back in town." "I am. And I heard about the potluck. I just had to come see everyone again." Marge felt the emotional tides shift as they spoke, reminiscing about their childhood. It was effortless, and the laughter flowed freely. But beneath the surface, there was an unspoken yearning for connection that deepened their conversation, pulling them both closer as they caught up. Marge realized this was what she had craved: community, friendships rekindled, and the support of familiar faces. It was a feeling of belonging that wrapped around her like a warm embrace. Soon enough, the gathering turned into an informal contest. "Let us taste everyone's dishes," someone called out, creating a ripple of excitement throughout the room. Bowls were passed around with eager hands, and smiles lit up faces as people sampled each unique contribution. Marge felt her heart race as she filled a bowl with her chili. What if it didn't measure up? But as she joined the circle, she reminded herself that she wasn't alone in this moment. Everyone there was sharing a part of themselves through food. As she took a few bites, the rich flavors burst on her palate. A chorus of voices chimed around her, expressing delight and recalling memories tied to meals long gone. Marge found herself laughing and sharing stories, her insecurities momentarily forgotten. Just then, she saw Mrs. Thompson and John exchanging bowls, both nodding appreciatively at each other's contributions. Then Emily chimed in. "Mom, I think yours is a hit." But just as she began to relax fully, a sonorous voice cut through the jovial atmosphere. "Who made this incredible chili?" Marge froze, eyes darting. The question hung in the air, a declaration of scrutiny. She could feel every gaze turned towards her, a mix of curiosity and expectation. What would they think? What did they want? Marge's heart pounded in her chest. Could this moment expose her true feelings once and for all? Would she finally find the acceptance she had longed for? With one deep breath, she stepped forward, her uncertainty wavering like an autumn leaf in the wind, ready to embrace whatever came next. Marge felt the weight of the room's attention pressing against her as she stood there, the warmth of the chili pot beneath her fingertips both familiar and foreign. It was a moment suspended in time, and she wondered if she should say something clever or profound. That would be me, she finally managed to say, her voice coming out steadier than she expected. A mix of encouragement and curiosity danced in the eyes around her. That chili looks delicious. A voice from the back called out, and Marge recognized it as Mr. Jacobs, the elderly man who always came to the center's events with donuts in hand. His enthusiasm made her smile. Thank you. She beamed, feeling a flicker of pride igniting in her chest. I added a secret ingredient that I think makes it special. Secret ingredients are always the best. Emily chimed in, her eyes shining. What is it, Mom? Marge hesitated, but the laughter ringing in the room ebbed her hesitation. Well, it's a little bit of brown sugar. It balances the spice, she admitted, knowing that not every kitchen secret had to remain guarded. People nodded, intrigued, and she could see heads turn toward their bowls. Marge caught John's gaze as he raised his own helping. To sweet surprises, he declared, earning laughter and cheers from the nearby tables. Tension lifted a little more, and she felt a strange transformation within herself. It was more than just their kind words, it was that gentle reminder she was once someone who brought joy through cooking, someone who belonged. As more people approached, sharing their own stories about how food connected them, Marge began to share snippets of her recipe. She could see the way their smiles grew, people leaned in closer, engaged. It felt as if she were unlocking a treasure chest filled with memories. Each story shared was a reminder of time gone by, yet it created new threads of connection. Suddenly, at the corner of her eye, she spotted Emily laughing with Sarah over a bowl of mac and cheese. It was a simple dish, but Emily's laughter was bright, lighting up the corners of the room. It made Marge's heart swell with a beautiful ache. Her daughter was building bonds, just like she once did with Sarah. Your chili is the talk of the night, Marge. Mrs. Thompson chimed in again, her eyes sparkling with warmth. You should think about starting a recipe exchange with us. The idea struck a chord deep within Marge. Wouldn't that be fun? Marge grinned, the idea forming a sweet whiff of possibility in her mind. Just as the air filled with enthusiasm, Sarah turned back to Marge. You know, Marge, it feels so nice to reconnect and share these moments. I've missed this. Marge nodded, the emotion momentarily overwhelming. I've missed it too. I didn't realize how much I needed it. As the conversation swirled around her, a feeling of hope cradled her heart. Perhaps this gathering was more than just a potluck. It was a step towards something bigger, an opportunity to rebuild community and rekindle memories. Every laugh and shared story felt like threads weaving a new tapestry. Let us plan a cooking night then. We could rotate houses, John suggested, and the air thrummed with excited chatter. Ideas bounced around her, turning dreams into reality. But just as everything seemed perfect, the loud crack of the community center's door echoed behind her. Heads turned, all eyes on a tall figure standing at the threshold. It was Tom, an old acquaintance of the community. The air shifted at his arrival, an unexpected ripple that raised countless questions. Why was he here, after all these years? Did he come looking for Marge? She could feel her heart quickening again. What did his presence mean for the connections she was just beginning to embrace? Marge took a step back, feeling both a flicker of hope and a pang of uncertainty. This moment could change everything once again. Marge's heart raced, feeling the warmth she'd just ignited in the room fade into a chill. Tom's figure, tall and imposing in the doorway, seemed to absorb all the light around him. He looked older, maybe more worn down, but there was a spark in his eyes that Marge couldn't ignore. Tom, she whispered, barely audible over the murmur of conversation. The voices in the room faded into a dull buzz as curiosity rippled through the others, heads turning to take in this unexpected presence. Is that really you? Sarah gasped, a mixture of surprise and excitement. What brings you back to us? He stepped further into the room, the door creaking shut behind him. I heard about the potluck, he said, his voice steady but low. I thought I'd come by and see how everyone's doing. Marge's stomach twisted at his words. Did he really mean that? Or was he here for something else? She wanted to believe in good intentions, but so much time had passed. Why now? A voice piped up from the crowd, straightforward and unyielding. It was Mrs. Thompson, and the room fell silent. All eyes were on Tom, like a spotlight waiting for a show. I needed to face some things, Tom replied, his gaze darting from person to person before landing back on Marge. And I wanted to apologize. His words hovered in the air, thick with tension. Marge felt her heart thud against her ribs. An apology? After all these years? The last time they spoke, it was only angry words and hurt feelings. Apologize for what? She asked, her voice sharper than she intended. No one moved. It was just the two of them in that moment, the room holding its breath. For leaving, for not being there, he said, sadness etching lines on his face. For missing out on the moments that matter. That hit harder than she projected. Was she ready to unpack all that history? Did she even want to? Her dreams of reconnecting with the community felt fragile now, as though Tom's presence threatened to shatter them. Emily, catching the tension, stepped forward. Mom, maybe we should let him speak. Give him a chance. Her voice was gentle, a bridge over the tumult in Marge's chest. Marge hesitated, wrestling with a storm of emotions. She could feel the warmth of community around her, the laughter and memories shared just moments ago. Did she want to risk that for a conversation that could damage this fragile bond? Behind every shared meal, Tom's voice broke into her thoughts, their essay story. I missed sharing mine. That struck a chord deep inside her. Food had always brought people together, creating spaces for forgiveness and understanding. But could she really open that door? Taking a breath, she glanced around the room. They were all here, her community, their faces filled with curiosity and concern, waiting. It was a mixture of love and apprehension. Okay, let us hear it, she finally said, her heart racing. The room shifted, the energy swirling anew, but Marge felt the tight grip of uncertainty remain. Would this be a moment of healing, or would it remind her of all the pain twisted into the fabric of her past? As Tom took a step closer, ready to speak, Marge felt the breath catch in her throat. She was about to discover what kind of transformation this evening would bring. But what if the truth was harder to swallow than the best chili she could serve? Tom stood inches away from Marge, and the heaviness of his presence weighed on her like an unforgiving blanket. The room shifted restlessly as whispers floated through the air. Would he really share the story buried deep inside him? He cleared his throat, taking a moment before continuing. I know I hurt you, and I've lived with it for too long. I thought that leaving would make things easier, but all it did was create a chasm between us. Marge's heart quickened. Could this really be enough to bridge the gap? She searched Tom's face for sincerity, but the memories flooded back arguments, late-night tears, questions left hanging in the air. After I left, it took me years to understand the choices I made, he continued, his voice trembling slightly. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I ran away from myself and from you. The silence wrapped around her again. Tom's vulnerability felt raw and exposing. It made Marge want to reach out, yet she hesitated, fearing the collision of their past would only pull them further apart. Behind her, the community shared worried glances, each person silently urging her to listen. Do you remember that camping trip? Tom asked suddenly. The one where we got lost in the woods and had to build a fire? I thought I would fail in front of you, but we managed. A faint smile broke through Marge's uncertainty, and she nodded. It was a cherished moment, one of laughter and closeness that seemed so far away now. That night, he continued, I realized how strong we were together. And when I left, it didn't just mean leaving a place. It meant leaving someone who made me better. Marge's pulse raced. Once again, the walls around her heart threatened to crack. You think it was that simple? She shot back, her voice trembling with emotion. You think you could just waltz back in and everything will be okay? There is so much pain. The room tensed. Tom's expression didn't falter. I know it's complicated. I've spent years regretting how I abandoned everything important to me, especially you. An ache blossomed in her chest. She had been strong, had gotten by. But here he was, challenging everything she thought she'd learned about resilience. If we're going to talk about the past, Marge pressed, then you need to know something. I moved on, or at least I tried to. I built this life, and I can't just rewrite history. Tom's eyes softened, regret swimming within them. I get that, Marge. I just want a chance to show you that I've changed. I've learned. I want to help, that's why I'm here. The turmoil between her heart and her head was a wild dance. It felt almost impossible to hope, yet something deep within her yearned for this conversation, the unwrapped gift of possibility. Yes, she opened her mouth to respond. A sharp sound interrupted. A crash echoed through the room, and everyone turned toward the source. A bowl of salad, just tipped over, created a mess on the floor. Laughter erupted, cutting through the mounting tension. Somebody's gotta be careful. Sarah chuckled, breaking the ice. But really, this is just a potluck. Why so serious? Marge felt the pressure ease slightly, but the remnants of raw honesty hung in the air. She looked at Tom, their eyes locking in an unspoken agreement. Maybe we can share a little more over dinner like a proper meal, she suggested, her heart still racing. Tom smiled, but the weight of truth lingered. Could culinary comfort really lead them back to each other? As they began to help clean up, the rhythm of laughter mingled with the unresolved emotions swirling in the background. But just when it seemed like all could return to normal, the door swung open again with a creak. An unexpected face appeared, and a singular voice called out, "Tom?" Marge's breath caught again, and the room fell silent as they awaited the new arrival's response. Who was it this time? The air thrummed with anticipation, hinting that perhaps the evening was only getting started. The new arrival stepped inside the tall, poised figure of Elaine, Tom's sister. Marge felt the chill of uncertainty creep back in. Tom's gaze shot toward her, his eyes wide. "Elaine, what are you doing here?" Elaine held up her hands, a mix of surprise and determination flickering across her features. "I heard you were at the potluck. I thought maybe I should come to support you." The room rushed with murmurs and questions. Marge's mind spun. Support him? Did she sense ulterior motives? But Tom's face softened at the sight of his sister. "I didn't expect this," he admitted, shifting. "I'm glad you came." Elaine stepped forward, her gaze steady, connecting with Marge. "I know our family has its scars, but I believe in second chances. If Tom's here, then maybe the universe is nudging us all back into a circle." Marge's heart ached at the mention of family ties and tangled pasts. She glanced around at the community gathered. Spirits were high, laughter rippling through the room, yet she could feel a storm brewing beneath the surface. "Maybe," Tom conceded, his voice soft. "Some things need to be faced together, not apart." Marge felt warmth blossom inside her at Tom's admission. Maybe healing didn't mean rewriting her history, but embracing it in all its raw complexity. "Okay," she said slowly, her voice steady. "Maybe we can sit down together and figure this out, maybe even over my chili?" The tension in the room shifted, anticipation hanging thick in the air, and as laughter filled the gap, it felt like magic. Marge's hands trembled slightly as she stirred her chili pot. Would this be her bridge to reconnecting? Would this dish be the comfort and healing she and Tom needed? People began to gather around as she dished out servings, everyone eager to taste her creation. Marge felt a rush of commitment to the community, her community swirling around her, past grievances melting into something hopeful. As the bowls filled, Tom spoke up. "Thank you for letting me back in, Marge. I know I can't erase the past, but I'm here now, ready to support you, just like you've supported so many." Marge smiled, feeling her heart open at his words. This could be a new beginning. Embracing the warmth of memories shared while still moving forward, maybe that was the key. With Elena's support and Tom's earnestness, the air began to clear, bitterness fading, laughter filling the spaces where hurt once lingered. As the room pulsed with connection and renewed friendships, Marge caught Emily's eye, gratitude radiating between them. "Look at this, Mom. You're bringing everyone together," Emily whispered, pride shining bright. "Yes," she replied, tears of joy pricking at her eyes. "And I couldn't have done it without you." Marge took a deep breath, reveled in the hum of the room, the clinking of bowls, the sweet smell of her chili, vibrant conversations buzzing as if spun with a warm thread of hope. The evening unfolded beautifully, friendships being rekindled, connections being formed, and new memories blossoming in the embrace of community. After a while, someone declared a toast. To Marge, for her heart and her chili. Cheers erupted, and as Marge lifted her glass, she felt a profound sense of belonging wash over her. Together, we can take on whatever comes next, she said, her voice filled with passion. Past, present, and this beautiful future we're forging together. The cacophony of cheers echoed louder than she had ever imagined, joy filling every corner of the room. Marge's heart surged with acceptance, connection, and transformation. What lay ahead was uncertain, but full of promise. Together, they would embrace it. Together, they would cook up a new story. And as the laughter wrapped around her, enveloping her like a soft embrace, Marge realized her heart was lighter than it had been in years. She had rediscovered her place not just as a cook, but as a beloved member of a vibrant, relentless community. As the night continued, Marge marveled at the journey that brought her back to this moment. The warmth in her home was a testament to the love and growth they had all experienced. As stories melded into one another, Marge couldn't help but think of her late husband, Frank. He would love this family, community, and sharing food that meant so much more than just sustenance. Marge took in the echoes of laughter, the tastes of joy, and the threads of connection woven between them all. With every spice and story shared, she realized, sometimes, the most heartwarming transformations come not through new recipes, but through the people who gather around the table. Marge's heart filled to the brim. Home. This was what it felt like. Now, let us not let this beautiful moment fade into the night. You need to subscribe now to keep following Marge's journey and discover how love, community, and a little garlic can transform lives. Leave a like now to help us grow stronger together, and don't forget to comment your favorite moments from the gathering. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need uplifting stories like this one. Don't wait, not even one more second to support our community and spread the love.